Have you ever wondered if reconnecting with an old friend could truly bring joy or stir up unresolved emotions? As we journey through life, especially in our later years, the relationships we choose to nurture can profoundly impact our peace and happiness. In this video, we'll explore why it might be best to let old friends stay in the past and focus on the relationships that truly uplift us today. You'll discover invaluable wisdom on protecting your emotional energy, setting empowering boundaries, and embracing the beauty of the present moment. Whether you're seeking peace, clarity, or deeper connections, this guide will provide you with the insights you need to live a fulfilling and serene life. Stay with us until the end to learn practical strategies for maintaining meaningful relationships, letting go of nostalgia, and ensuring that your golden years are filled with joy and tranquility. Don't miss out on transforming your approach to friendships and enriching your life's journey. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. The past is a closed chapter. As someone who has been blessed to live through nearly a century of life's unpredictable twists and turns, I've come to deeply understand a truth that has shaped my heart and my soul. The past is not just something to remember, it is a teacher. It's a precious chapter in the grand story of life. One that is meant to be read, understood, and, when the time is right, closed. Keeping it open, lingering too long in the echo of what once was, can become a trap. It holds you in a moment that no longer serves you, preventing you from embracing the beauty and peace that lie in the chapters still waiting to be written. I know how tempting it is to look back at old friendships and feel a tug of longing, an ache for the way things once were. Maybe it's the sound of laughter shared under the stars or the warmth of someone who made you feel like you truly belonged. Those were the days, weren't they? You could almost feel it again, that joy, that lightness. But life, like us, is never static. We are constantly growing, evolving, and being shaped by the storms we've weathered, even if no one else can fully understand the depth of those changes. And likely, the person you were when that friendship flourished is no longer the same person you are today. You've changed. You've lived. And the friend who once stood by your side? They, too, have likely changed, or perhaps remained the same while you journeyed on and became someone new. Friendships, like everything else, come in seasons. Some are brief but intense, others are steady companions through the years, and some arrive just when we need them most. They teach us, sometimes in the most profound ways, about joy, laughter, resilience, and, sometimes painfully, about letting go. Not all friendships are meant to last forever, and there is no shame in that. The seasons of life shift, and so do the people we meet along the way. Reopening a chapter from the past often reveals that the magic you once shared is no longer there. The laughter may sound hollow, the camaraderie strained, and that sense of belonging may feel like a distant memory. The truth is, the past, no matter how fondly you remember it, is something that simply cannot be recreated. When an old friend reaches out, it stirs something deep inside. It's like an old song coming on the radio, pulling you back to another time, another version of yourself. But before you say yes to that call, before you agree to meet for coffee, take a moment to reflect. What exactly is it that you miss? Is it the friend, or is it the feeling they once gave you? The comfort, the simplicity, the sense of who you were when you were together. Often, what we miss is not the person, but the version of ourselves we were at that time, when life seemed easier, more carefree, when the world was full of possibilities and hope. Trying to revive that feeling by reconnecting with an old friend is like chasing the ghost of a moment that no longer exists. The past cannot be resurrected, no matter how hard we wish it could. Some friendships ended for reasons that time has not erased. Whether it was a betrayal, a misunderstanding, or just the inevitable drift of two lives going in different directions, those endings hold deep lessons. Even if they felt painful at the time, I now see them as a gift. Life knows when to pull people away, to create space for us to grow, to evolve, to become who we are meant to be, without the burden of relationships that no longer serve us. As you grow older, your time and emotional energy become so much more precious. Why would you waste them trying to resurrect a relationship that belongs to a past time? Those old chapters have already been written, and it's time to turn the page. You must also recognize that people, especially as they grow older, do not always change as dramatically as we like to believe. If an old friend brought negativity, drama, or emotional exhaustion into your life in the past, there's a very real chance they will bring those same qualities back into your life now. Are you prepared to carry that weight again? Perhaps the younger version of yourself was more forgiving, more willing to tolerate things that drained you. But now, in the wisdom of your later years, you understand the value of peace and serenity in your life. You've earned the right to protect that peace fiercely. Letting go of an old friendship doesn't mean you're unkind, ungrateful, or dismissive of the good times you once shared. It simply means that you're honoring the past by leaving it where it belongs. You take the lessons, the beautiful memories, and the gratitude for the laughter and love you once shared, but you don't need to reopen a door that should stay closed. The chapters that lie ahead are waiting, and they deserve your full attention, your open heart, and your presence. As you grow older, letting go of the past becomes one of the most liberating, soul-cleansing acts you can make. It's not about forgetting, it's about accepting. It's about embracing the truth that the richness of your life is not measured by how many old connections you hold on to, but by the quality of the relationships you nurture in the present. The past, no matter how sweet, is a closed chapter. And in closing, you open yourself to the beauty, the peace, and the possibilities that lie ahead, where you are right now and where you're going. 2. Protecting your peace. As someone who has walked the winding path of life and tasted both its sweet triumphs and bitter trials, I can tell you from the depth of my heart that peace is never something that simply falls into your lap. It's not a gift that's handed to you. It's a treasure that you must protect, cultivate, and fight for with everything you have. It's earned through a lifetime of battles. Some fought with others, some fought with yourself, and through moments of profound, sometimes painful, self-discovery. The older you get, the more you realize that peace is no longer just a luxury, it's a priceless commodity. And once you've found it, once you've truly known it, you must fiercely defend it. Letting go of your peace, especially in your later years, is an injustice to the beautiful life you fought so hard to create. Peace isn't just about escaping noise or conflict. It's so much more than that. It's the kind of inner stillness that seeps into your bones, that lets you breathe deeply and feel at home in your skin. It's the unshakable sense of contentment that allows you to sit with your thoughts, to exist in your own company, and to feel whole. It's the soft hum of well-being that vibrates through your entire life, allowing you to move through your days unburdened, without the weight of unnecessary worry or drama. But, oh, how fragile it is. It's like a delicate flower, easily disturbed by the winds of negativity and unrest. And often, the people you surround yourself with have more power over your peace than you might realize. Not all relationships deserve to be shared in your sanctuary of calm. Some people, no matter how deeply you once cared for them, may bring more turbulence than tranquility. It's not that they mean harm, but their presence can disturb the equilibrium you've worked so tirelessly to establish. Old friends, with all their familiar faces and histories, can sometimes stir up old wounds, unresolved conflicts, or simply energies that no longer align with the peaceful life you've crafted for yourself. They may still carry baggage you've long since let go of, or they may cling to patterns and habits that no longer resonate with your growth. And the truth is, that's okay. It's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to recognize that certain bonds no longer serve the person you are today. You've earned that clarity. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. There are people in this world who, despite your best efforts, seem to carry heavy clouds wherever they go. They dwell in the past, constantly recycling the same grievances, recounting the same negative stories over and over, and seeing the world through a lens so clouded by bitterness that it casts a shadow over everything they touch. The energy they bring is draining, and it can be suffocating. No matter how compassionate you are, no matter how much you want to help, these kinds of people can slowly erode your peace. You find yourself stuck in repetitive, exhausting conversations, trying to offer support, but feeling as though you're giving and giving without receiving anything in return. You begin to feel emotionally depleted, as though every interaction takes more from you than it gives. It's not that you don't care, it's that you've learned the hard way that giving too much to those who take without replenishing can deplete your spirit. And you, my friend, deserve to be whole. At this stage in your life, you've earned the right to set boundaries. You've earned the right to say no without apology and to prioritize your emotional well-being without guilt or second-guessing. Protecting your peace is not a selfish act. It is an act of wisdom. It is a recognition that you cannot pour from an empty cup, that your energy is sacred, and that you deserve to invest it in relationships that nurture, uplift, and restore you. You've lived through enough to know the value of peace, and you owe it to yourself to protect it fiercely, just as you would protect your heart. Age brings a kind of clarity, a sharpness that cuts through the fog of illusion. With time, you begin to see people for who they truly are, not just for who they were when you first met them. And sometimes, you'll realize that certain friendships were never meant to last forever. They were chapters in your story, brief and beautiful, but no longer relevant to the person you've become. There's no shame in this. There's wisdom in letting go when the lesson has been learned and when the bond has outlived its purpose. Some relationships are blessings, others are lessons, and some are a beautiful blend of both. But when the lesson is over, don't be afraid to release what no longer serves you. Protecting your peace is also about understanding your limits. You've spent decades giving to work, giving to family, giving to your community. Now is the time to lean into the relationships that make your heart light, the ones where silence is comfortable and laughter flows freely. If an old friend reaches out, and you feel deep down in your soul that their energy would disturb the peace you fought so hard to nurture, it's okay to say no. It's not cruelty, it's self-preservation. It's choosing to protect the sacred space you've carved out for yourself. When you guard your peace, you create room for the things that truly matter. You make space for joy, for reflection, and for the simple, quiet pleasures that make life worth living. You make room for long walks in the sunshine, for the warmth of a cup of tea shared with someone who truly sees you, for mornings where you can simply be still and breathe. These are the moments that make life rich. These are the moments that nourish your soul, and they are worth protecting with everything you have. Peace is not a passive thing. It is an active choice. You choose it every single day, in every moment, and with every relationship you nurture or release. It is a commitment to yourself and to the life you've so richly earned. When you choose to protect your peace, you honor the person you've become, the lessons you've learned, and the wisdom you've gained. You honor all of the hard-fought battles that have shaped you into the person you are today. And in doing so, you give yourself the gift of a life that is not just well-lived, but deeply, profoundly whole. A life full of serenity, joy, and peace beyond measure. 3. Letting go of nostalgia. Nostalgia is an incredibly powerful force. It has this magical ability to pull us back in time, sweep us off our feet, and carry us into the embrace of days gone by. It evokes the sweetness of youth, the infectious laughter of long-forgotten friendships, the warmth of simpler times when life seemed less complicated and full of promise. There's something undeniably comforting about it, like finding an old, well-worn sweater that still fits perfectly. But here's something I've learned after almost 90 years of living. Nostalgia, though it feels good, can often be a silent trap, one that holds us hostage in the past. We may find ourselves stuck, yearning for what was, when the truth is that what we need is to move forward, to embrace the beauty of the present and the infinite possibilities of the future. The past is a place we visit in our memories, but it is not a place we're meant to live. Nostalgia has this tendency to wrap the past in a golden glow, making it seem like it was an endless summer of joy, free from the burdens of today. But if you take a moment to sit with those memories, to truly reflect on them, you'll begin to notice that they're not as flawless as they seem from a distance. Our minds, in their own way, soften the sharp edges of time, allowing us to forget the struggles, the challenges, and the imperfections that were woven into those moments. It's not that the past wasn't beautiful. It was, in its way. But it was also messy, just like the present is. Life has always been complex, and full of ups and downs. And as hard as it may be to admit, those golden moments we cherish were far from perfect. They were moments, just like the ones we have now. When you catch yourself wanting to reach out to an old friend because nostalgia is calling your name, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I longing for? Are you reaching for the person they were, or are you yearning for the version of yourself you were when you were with them? Perhaps you were younger, more carefree, more hopeful back then. Maybe life felt more like an open road, and that friendship mirrored the sense of freedom you had in those days. But time has a way of changing us all, and the person you were and the person they were are not the same. We evolve, we grow, and often we lose parts of ourselves along the way. Clinging to who someone was, or who you were, can set you up for heartbreak. Nostalgia whispers that if we can just recreate those old moments, we'll find the joy we lost. But the truth is, life doesn't work that way. You can visit old places and reconnect with familiar faces, but the magic you once shared can never be fully recreated. It's gone, and that's okay. Time moves forward, and so must we. There's a deeper, more painful side to nostalgia, too. Sometimes, when we think we're reminiscing with a smile, it's really because there's a part of us that hasn't fully let go of something. Someone. Maybe there's unfinished business, unresolved feelings that linger like a shadow over our hearts. Perhaps there's regret, a sense of what could have been, or even guilt. And so we go back in our minds to those moments, hoping that by reopening old doors, we can somehow find the closure we need. But more often than not, that door leads to painful realizations. The people we once knew are not the same, and the bond we cherished has faded into something unrecognizable. What we thought we wanted to reclaim is often not what we truly need. We may discover that the person we thought was the answer to our longing has become a stranger, and that truth can be heartbreakingly difficult to accept. Letting go of nostalgia doesn't mean erasing or denying the past. It doesn't mean forgetting the moments that shaped us or the love that once filled our lives. What it means is honoring the past for what it was, a beautiful, sometimes messy chapter in the story of our lives, and then choosing to turn the page. There is so much beauty in that choice. When we let go of the weight of constantly longing for what once was, we free ourselves to embrace the fullness of the life we have now. The present, this very moment, is a gift. A gift that many are never fortunate enough to receive. As we age, we are given the rare opportunity to be present with ourselves, to cherish the relationships that have withstood the tests of time, and to savor the simple pleasures that come with the wisdom of years lived. Letting go of nostalgia is an act of courage, an act of grace. It is choosing to live fully in the present, to find beauty in what is, and not in what was. It's permitting yourself to embrace the joy, the peace, and the clarity that come from truly living in the now. Yes, nostalgia has its place. It can warm our hearts on quiet evenings, and bring a smile to our faces when we recall a sweet memory. But it should never hold us back. It should never tie us down, never keep us from the opportunities that await in the future. The past has already given us all it can. Now, it's time to let it go. It's time to step into the grace of what lies ahead, the life that is waiting to be lived, fully and freely, with open arms. For emotional energy is finite. As someone who has lived through nearly a century of experiences, heartaches, triumphs, and everything in between, I can say with all my heart that emotional energy is one of the most precious, yet limited resources we have. Time, as we know, continues its relentless march, unaffected by our desires or needs. But emotional energy, now that's something entirely different. It's a delicate force that ebbs and flows, like a tide pulling back and forth, constantly needing care, replenishment, and thoughtful attention. As you age, this becomes undeniably clear. Not everyone and everything is worth the precious currency of your emotional investment. When you were younger, didn't it seem like you could give endlessly? Your time, your energy, your compassion. You were that person who always had something left to give. Maybe you were the one who others leaned on, the friend who listened patiently, the one who offered comfort without hesitation, the one who would bend over backward to help anyone in need. But with the wisdom that comes with age, you realize something that hits like a thunderclap. Your heart, though vast, has limits. You may have endless love to share, but your emotional capacity to pour out that love and care is not infinite. Every single interaction, every relationship, and every moment spent with others draws from the well of your emotional reserves. And if you're not careful, that well can run dry, leaving you depleted, hollow, and longing for something you can't quite put your finger on. Reconnecting with old friends, for instance, might seem like a harmless and even uplifting endeavor, but it's more demanding than you might realize. Friendships that have lain dormant for years don't simply spring back to life. They require emotional labor, the labor of rekindling the bond, of rebuilding trust, of confronting the changes that time has etched into both of you. You may find that you're putting in far more effort than you're receiving in return. Every conversation and every encounter may feel like you're crossing a chasm that only seems to grow wider as time passes. If that friend, once so familiar, now carries with them unresolved baggage, negativity, or a lack of emotional reciprocity, the toll on your emotional energy can be staggering, even exhausting. And yet, it's not that you lack compassion, not at all. By this stage of life, you've probably offered more love, care, and support than you ever thought was possible. But here's the crucial truth. Compassion, while boundless in spirit, must be balanced with self-preservation. You have every right to protect your emotional well-being, to set boundaries, and to say no to relationships that drain rather than replenish you. This is not selfishness. It is wisdom, a hard-earned wisdom that comes only with experience and age. Think for a moment about the people who already occupy your life, your family, your closest friends, your community. These are the relationships that nourish you, that sustain you. They are the ones who understand you as you are now, not as a version of yourself stuck in the past. They've walked beside you through the peaks and valleys of life. They've earned their place in your heart. These are the people who deserve your emotional energy, because the love, respect, and care you give to them is returned in kind. These are the relationships that add depth, meaning, and joy to your life. These are the ones worth investing in. Now, as you contemplate whether to reintroduce an old friend into your life, ask yourself this: at what cost? Will this relationship enhance your peace and fulfillment, or will it deplete you, leaving you feeling drained, unbalanced, or resentful? Will it bring joy, connection, and light back into your life, or will it slowly extinguish the flame you've worked so hard to keep alive? These are not questions born of judgment. They are questions of survival, of self-care, of protecting the precious energy that is yours alone. Emotional energy, like physical stamina, is finite. We must use it wisely, thoughtfully, and sparingly. There is a strange, yet liberating, freedom in acknowledging your limitations. It's a release, a letting go of the need to constantly be everything to everyone. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, on the relationships and experiences that truly feed your soul. And in doing so, it empowers you to stop scattering your energy across connections that no longer serve your greater good. This is not just self-care, it's self-respect. It is a way of honoring all that you have been, all that you are, and all that you will continue to be. As I sit quietly, reflecting on the years that have passed, I am deeply moved by the truth that we carry within us all the love, wisdom, and strength we've ever given to others. It becomes part of us. It shapes us, molds us, and defines us. But here's the thing we must remember. To keep that inner light burning brightly, we must protect it. We cannot afford to give away so much of ourselves that there is nothing left to sustain us. Emotional energy is finite, yes, but it is also renewable. If we nurture it, if we protect it, and if we share it only with those who truly deserve it, we can keep our flame alive, warm, and steady even as we age. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. So the next time you find yourself wondering whether to let an old friend back into your life, ask yourself honestly, does this relationship nourish my soul, or does it drain me? Does it align with the peace, the joy, and the fulfillment I've worked so hard to cultivate? And if the answer is no, if the relationship no longer serves you, then don't be afraid to let go. You've earned the right to choose. You've earned the right to protect your energy, to safeguard your emotional health, and to live the rest of your days with a heart that is full, not empty. This is your time. Guard it fiercely. It's the most precious thing you have left. 5. Polite boundaries are empowering. There's a profound strength in setting boundaries, a strength that grows deeper with time. As I've moved through nearly 90 years of life, I've come to realize that boundaries are not walls meant to shut others out, but sacred spaces, gentle but firm defenses that protect our peace, our energy, and our hearts. They are silent yet powerful declarations of self-respect. As we age, these boundaries don't just become a necessity, they become an act of wisdom, a loving gift to ourselves, one we should cherish rather than fear. When I reflect on the many decades of my life, I can't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude for the moments when I finally learned the power of saying no. When I began to set boundaries not out of anger or rejection, but out of love and preservation. In my younger years, I was often hesitant to set those lines. I feared that I would be misunderstood, or worse, that I might seem unkind or selfish. But with time, and with the gentle wisdom that comes from living a full life, I've learned that boundaries, set with grace and kindness, are some of the most loving things we can do for ourselves and others. They are not about excluding anyone, but about making space for what truly matters. When we hesitate to set boundaries, it's often because of the fear of disappointing others, or of causing ripples in relationships we've treasured for years. The idea of telling someone no can feel like we're rejecting them, as if we're severing ties with a piece of our past. But I've come to see that boundaries, when expressed thoughtfully, aren't a form of rejection, they're a form of protection. They allow us to preserve the emotional resources we've worked so hard to cultivate. When we set boundaries, we are not shutting people out. We are giving them the gift of clarity, and in doing so, we allow relationships to exist in peace rather than in the tension of unmet needs. Take, for instance, when an old friend reaches out after years of silence. A simple message can stir up a whirlwind of emotions: nostalgia, curiosity, perhaps even a pang of guilt or obligation. The memories flood back, and for a moment, you might feel compelled to re-engage, to rekindle what once was. But before you act, take a breath. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this connection in alignment with who I am now? Does this relationship still bring me joy, or does it merely echo a past version of myself that no longer exists? It's a question worth asking, because the truth is, not every connection is meant to be revived. And that's okay. It's part of growing older, learning that some doors are meant to stay closed, not out of animosity, but out of the realization that what lies beyond them no longer serves you. Setting boundaries is an act of self-preservation. It's an act of safeguarding your time, your energy, your peace. It's an understanding that as we age, our emotional bandwidth becomes more precious. And so, we must protect it fiercely. Setting a polite boundary might look like a simple, well-crafted message that acknowledges the past with warmth but respectfully declines to re-enter it. You might say, "Thank you so much for reaching out. I truly treasure the memories we shared, but my life has moved in a different direction, and I prefer to focus on what is ahead. I wish you all the best." These words are gentle but firm. There's no malice in them, no cruelty. They are simply the expression of your truth, spoken with the utmost respect for both yourself and the person you're addressing. There's something incredibly empowering in that moment when you speak your truth with kindness. It's a declaration of your worth, of your right to live your life on your terms. It's a statement that says, I value my peace, and I will not sacrifice it for the sake of maintaining an old connection that no longer brings me joy. In doing so, you set the tone for how others will treat you moving forward. You show them that while you are open to connection, you are unwilling to compromise your well-being for the sake of it. I've learned over the years that when we set boundaries, we teach others how to treat us. Relationships that are based on mutual respect, where each person's needs are acknowledged and honored, are the relationships that thrive. Those who truly care about us will understand and respect our boundaries. Those who struggle with them may see them as rejection or may feel hurt. But that reaction is not our responsibility. What matters is that we have acted with integrity, with kindness, and with a deep sense of self-worth. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about taking control over what we allow into our lives, what we allow to take up space in our hearts. As I look back on the years, I can see clearly how my boundaries have allowed me to cherish the relationships that nourish me and let go of those that no longer serve me. These boundaries have given me the strength to say no when I needed to, and the grace to say yes when it felt right. They have allowed me to build a life that is peaceful, simple, and true to who I am. A life filled with love, authenticity, and the quiet joy of knowing that I've honored my own needs. So, to anyone who feels hesitant about setting boundaries, I say, don't fear them. Embrace them. See them as the tools of empowerment they are, acts of self-love that honor not only you but also the people you interact with. Be polite, be firm, and above all, be unapologetically clear about what you need. In doing so, you offer yourself the incredible gift of a life lived on your terms, a life where peace reigns, and only the relationships that truly nourish and uplift you remain. 6. Focus on the present. There is something deeply profound, almost magical, about living in the present. Over the years, this truth becomes even more vivid. At my age, nearly 9 decades now, I can tell you with complete certainty that the present is all we truly have. The past, no matter how cherished or painful, is gone. It lives only in our memories, and even those memories can become fuzzy over time. The future, no matter how much we may dream about it, is an uncertain thing, unpredictable, beyond our control, and truthfully, never guaranteed. The present moment, with all its imperfections, its simplicity, and fleeting nature is where life is happening. It's right here, right now, that we find our peace, our joy, and our purpose. To focus on the present is to give yourself the priceless gift of living, truly living, in the moment. The more I reflect on life, the more I realize how much it requires a conscious choice, a deliberate decision, to let go of the burdens of the past. Those old wounds, those unresolved emotions, the relationships that once brought us comfort but now feel distant. If we don't let them go, they weigh us down. The regrets, the what-ifs, the memories of times we wish we could relive or undo. They have a way of taking up residence in our minds and hearts, stealing the space needed for the beauty of the present. And isn't that a tragedy? How can we possibly savor the sweet, innocent laughter of a grandchild, feel the warmth of the sun on our skin, or even truly appreciate the simple joy of a quiet evening at home, if we are still chained to what once was? Living in the past is like being stuck in a moment that's already slipped away. We can't go back, no matter how much we wish we could. But we can choose to be present in the here and now, where life is waiting for us. Focusing on the present demands that we clear our minds of distractions and stop allowing past regrets or old hurts to rule our thoughts. I've learned that reconnecting with old friends, those dear people who once shared in our youth, while it may seem like an opportunity to relive the glory days, often pulls us away from the richness of the life we've built today. Yes, those friendships were once incredibly important, but now, the people standing beside us, those who know us in the season of life, and who have seen the full spectrum of our joys and sorrows, are the ones who deserve our time and our energy. These are the relationships that matter now, that nourish us in the present, not the memories of people and moments that no longer exist. When we choose to give our attention to the present, we honor the relationships that truly add meaning to our lives. And isn't that what it's all about? At this stage of life, you begin to see things with a new clarity. The simple, quiet moments, the ones we once overlooked, are now the most precious. A warm cup of coffee in the morning, the peaceful solitude of an afternoon walk, or the joy of a conversation that leaves your heart full. These moments, these fleeting yet profound experiences, are where life's true beauty is found. We are so often in such a rush that we miss them. But when you are fully present, when you slow down enough to take them in, you realize just how precious they are. Focusing on the present is more than just a choice. It is a gift. It allows you to experience life in its most pure, unfiltered form, unclouded by the ghosts of the past or the anxieties of the future. It's like taking a deep, calming breath and simply being. It's in those moments of stillness, when you stop and feel, that you begin to realize, this is where life happens. And when we stop chasing after the past or the future, we find that the present is enough. It is everything. 7. The wisdom of moving on. Moving on, what a deeply challenging yet profoundly liberating journey it is. Few life lessons are as difficult to learn, and yet, few bring such a sense of freedom once fully embraced. It is hard, yes, but it is also essential. The ability to recognize when a chapter has ended, when a relationship has run its course, and to summon the courage to let go, that is wisdom in its truest form. As you grow older, you begin to see that not everything is meant to stay, not every bond is meant to endure forever. This truth, while painful at times, carries with it a quiet power. Letting go does not signify failure or indifference. It is, in fact, a sign of immense growth. I have learned, through the years, that moving on from friendships that no longer serve us is not an act of betrayal but an act of profound self-respect. It is not about rejecting the other person, nor is it about dismissing the cherished memories you once shared. It is about acknowledging the simple yet powerful truth that this connection, in its current form, has run its course. And that's okay. It's not about severing ties or erasing the past. It's about recognizing that both of you deserve to walk separate paths, and perhaps those paths lead you to places of greater joy, greater peace, and greater alignment with who you truly are now. Life, with all its twists and turns, is a series of transitions. We are constantly evolving and constantly changing. And with each transition, there lies an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to embrace the new. There is wisdom in realizing that not all goodbyes are sad. Some are deeply necessary, even beautiful. They allow us to make space for what truly matters: our peace, our happiness, and the relationships that feed our souls. Letting go is not an end but a beginning, a way to clear out the clutter and create room for the things that will nurture us moving forward. In my experience, moving on is not about erasing the past. It's about choosing to carry its lessons forward, with a heart full of gratitude, but without the weight of its burdens. When you choose to move on, you are trusting that life still has much to offer you, no matter your age. Even now, in the later years of life, there are joys yet to be discovered, friendships that can be deepened, and experiences that will bring new, unexpected joy. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you open yourself to new possibilities, new adventures, and new avenues of growth. It's remarkable, truly. With each step, you allow yourself the chance to grow in ways you never imagined. And that, my dear friends, is a gift, one that is more valuable than any possession or old memory. You are no longer bound by the past. You are free to create the future, to find fulfillment in places you never thought to look. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As someone who has walked this earth for nearly 90 years, I can tell you this truth from the very depths of my being. Moving on is not about forgetting. It is about honoring. You honor the past by remembering it with gratitude, by cherishing the love, the joy, and the lessons it brought you. But you also honor yourself by living fully in the present, by choosing to create new memories, new experiences, and new moments of connection. You carry the wisdom, the lessons, and the love from the past, but you let go of the pain, the regrets, and the emotional baggage that no longer serves you. Life is a journey, after all, a journey of constant renewal. Each day, each step is a chance to become more of who you are meant to be. The wisdom of moving on lies in knowing that we cannot carry everything with us. Some things, some people, and some chapters in our lives must be left behind to move forward. If we hold on to everything, we only weigh ourselves down. And so, moving on becomes a sacred act, a chance to walk into the future with a heart that is light and a spirit that is full of hope. Life, when viewed through the lens of many decades, reveals itself as a vast, intricate tapestry woven with moments of joy, heartbreak, love, and loss. Each thread, each experience, has shaped the person you are today. And yet, as the years pass, the greatest lesson becomes clear. The most valuable thing we can give ourselves is peace. Not just the peace that comes from silence or solitude, but the peace that comes from knowing we have made choices that honor our hearts, our minds, and our well-being. Letting go of old friends, old memories, or even old versions of ourselves is not abandonment. It is reverence for the life we are living now. It's an act of saying, I honor this moment, this version of myself, and I value it more than I value holding on to what was. This wisdom is not always easy to embrace. It requires courage, deep reflection, and sometimes the willingness to hurt for a while. But it is a freeing kind of hurt, a hurt that leads to healing, to transformation, and ultimately to peace. And so, as someone who has walked the long and winding path of life, I urge you to cherish what you have now. Hold close to the relationships that nourish you, the experiences that lift you, and the moments that make you feel truly alive. Protect your emotional energy. Honor your boundaries. Focus on the present with an open heart, and be gentle with yourself. Life may be fleeting, but its richness lies in your ability to savor it fully, without distraction, without regret. Moving on is not about erasing the past. It's about making room for the life you still have left to live. You are not defined by what you leave behind, but by the courage you show in embracing what lies ahead. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to leave you with this. The wisdom of moving on is a powerful gift we give ourselves. It is a choice, a beautiful act of honoring both our past and our present, and it opens us up to the endless possibilities life still has to offer. It's a lesson that comes with time, but once learned, it can bring an incredible sense of freedom, peace, and joy. So, what have you learned today? I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and comment below. What is one thing you've learned in this video that you're going to bring into your life moving forward? Whether it's letting go of the past, embracing new opportunities, or choosing peace over regret, I'd love to know what resonated most with you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your thoughts in the comments, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that can bring more wisdom and peace into our lives. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.